Predicting things in D2 based off of data mining alone can be very hit or miss. I was really hopeful last year when I looked into the API and saw the brand new SMG, the Title. Unfortunately, that ended up being a miss, and I will explain why, but today we're going to go over why that might be different this year. But this time, I'm going to leave it up to you though. Guardian Games goes live today, and I'll present the case for both why the Title might be worth your time, and also why it might not be worth your time. We'll also briefly cover the new Baja Blast Scout Rifle, and if that is worth your farming time or not. Okay, rewind the clock 1 year. SMGs were in a good spot in both PvP and PvE when the Title was about to come out. It had good base stats on paper, and one thing I was very interested in was its brand new origin trait, Classy Contender. Final blows with this weapon grant class ability energy. Gotta admit, that still sounds really good on paper. The only problem is we didn't know how much class energy it would give you, and turns out it ain't that much. I haven't done any legwork myself, but according to both Destiny Item Manager and D2 Foundry, Classy Contender only gives back a whopping 5% ability energy on kill. Not exactly Christmas, is it? I mean, it still is free real estate. I just wish it were a bit higher of a number overall. Here's another big reason why the Title never really took off. Taraba. As I also mentioned last year, Taraba was strong competition for the Title, which was not only dirty with its pre-nerfed exotic perk, but it had a higher zoom value at the time as well. As many of us know, Taraba would eventually go full-on villain arc in PvP for a long time, leaving the Title completely behind. Alright, now fast forward to right now, and why don't we immediately address the 750-pound gorilla in the room, the freaking Immortal SMG. I'm sure a lot of people looked up from whatever they were doing when they heard that the Title is coming back in the Jardian James this week, then immediately went back to not caring because they have a perfect or near perfect Immortal SMG. Adept or otherwise, the Immortal is an ag frame SMG that's basically been acting like an invasive species in PvP since initial inception. And you know it's bad when people who begin dry heaving at the thought of picking up a fresh mercy card from Saint 14 are suffering through elimination to get their hands on any version of the gun that they can. But for good reason though. As many people easily predicted, the Immortal entered PvP hotter than a ghost pepper smoothie and immediately began bending the meta over. Even right now, it continues to top the leaderboards of most used PvP weapons week after week after week. So the immediate question is, can the new Title hang with a god roll Immortal? And at the risk of sounding like an optimistic idiot for the second year in a row, I'm going to say yes, and also no, but mostly yes, mainly due to the existence of one perk and one perk alone that was not in the Title's loot pool last year but is there this year. Possible spoiler warning, get out right now if you don't want to know. That perk is Rangefinder. As mentioned in my video last year, a potential Achilles heel of the Title was that it did not have access to the almighty Rangefinder, meaning it would have a slightly lower zoom than the competition. Even after all this time, zoom is wildly important on SMGs, especially in PvP. New players, if you use an SMG with low zoom, you immediately feel the effects. Your range feels far shorter and your gun doesn't seem like it wants to connect with an enemy that you're shooting. Anywho, over time, Bungie has repeatedly struggled in balancing zoom, which might be a concern for the future. More on that in a minute, but for now, check it out. Currently, the Adept Immortal has a base zoom of 14, which can be taken up to 15 if your Immortal has Rangefinder. By comparison, the Title has a base zoom of 15, which can be taken up to 16 if your brand new Title drops with Rangefinder. That alone, IMO makes the new 2023 Title potentially worthy of at least a test drive in PvP. Granted, if you compare the other base stats side to side, it's still kind of a slaughter. Immortal has better base range, stability, handling, reload, aim assist, AE, and recoil direction. Jesus. Not to mention that if you have an Adept Immortal, you can pimp it out even further with Adept weapon mods, which the Title can only dream of and never obtain. TLDR, if you aren't already interested in farming new Title based on the fact that you have a goated Immortal laying around, yeah, I don't really blame you. But on the other side of the fence, one more quick maybe selling point on the new Title. Because Rangefinder is such a borderline mandatory perk on god roll SMGs in the year of our Lord 2023, it means that any other great perk laying around in the same column as Rangefinder often has to be straight up passed over. For the Immortal, there's a few nice perks getting the shaft from Rangefinder, but one in particular stands out to me, Dynamic Sway Reduction. I've often wondered how different the Immortal would feel if Dynamic were in column 4 and you could roll both it and Rangefinder together. But I think about it and then quickly go, know, who cares, because target lock suits the Immortal just fine. You can probably see where this is going, but the Title has rangefinder in column 4 and dynamic in column 3, meaning not only can the Title hit one zoom higher than Adept Immortal, but it can also roll the combo of rangefinder and dynamic together. You could also go with rangefinder threat detector or rangefinder and perpetual motion, two other combos that the Immortal can't roll. All right, so now we have two maybe selling points on why the Title might be able to contend with current school bully shoving everyone into a big locker, the Immortal. However, here's why you might be wasting your time. Aggressive frame SMGs are getting nerfed, and we only kinda know how and when. Not too long ago, Bungie outlined changes for the Season 20 mid-season patch, and while the Ikelos and Teraba both got tweaked, ag frame SMGs on the whole didn't get changed. Bungie made a specific note though that ag frames would be getting some kind of damage nerf in Season 21 that will extend its time to kill against most players in PvP depending on their resil. Again, it's hard to see into the future, so this nerf could barely tickle ag frame SMGs and they could keep on being the top shelf go-to option, or it could knock them off the meta perch completely. Unsure. We also have it on good authority that Bungie is going to eventually tweak zoom, not only on SMGs, but every gun in the game at some point in the future. No idea what is going to happen there, not even sure what Bungie can do about high zoom on many weapons being so good, quite frankly, but we do know that it is coming eventually. Either way, call me crazy, I'm still gonna go for a new Title just in case, because at the very least, I think new Title might be able to hang until Season 21. But you go ahead and do you. If your gut is telling you that SMG viability is going down next month, or that your God roll Immortal is the only love you'll ever need, then put that garden hoe down, no more farming for you. If you're curious though, here is the exact Title roll I'm going after. Barrel pick is kind of flexible, and I'm also happy with high cal instead of ricochet in column 2. If we find out some crazy good loot farm for Guardian games, I'll put out a video on that. Go ahead and ring the notification bell so you don't miss it. Very quickly, the other new Guardian games weapon is Taraxippos. Sure I'm saying that correctly, a 200 RPM scout rifle. I'm gonna be dead honest with y'all. Outside of yeehawing in the former DMT meta, I am not a scout rifle guy. They're very effective in PvE for sure. I'll probably try to get a PvE god roll, but PvP? Not really my cup of tea. My boy True Vanguard seems to think it'll be spicy, however, but then again, he's also known for not really using the meta and having, shall I say, a unique taste in weaponry. It does have the newly buffed Zen Moment, as well as Kill Clip, Explosive Payload, Keep Away, and even Hatchling if you're kind of a worm weirdo. TLDR, I'm not really into scout rifles very much. I'm kind of ho-hum on the Mountain Dew rifle for right now, but if for whatever reason it turns out to be insane, I'll keep you posted. If you haven't seen it yet, check out my What Your Subclass Says About You video. Confident that you will love it. And go ahead and let me know down in the comments section what kind of videos you want from me in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on stream.